Hi, my name is Kristin Kaufman. Welcome. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. We come on here every once in a while in what I call an episode of Have a Seat with Kristin. It's paying homage to the 3 books that I wrote entitled, Is This Seat Taken? And today you're actually having a seat with me. We share tips and techniques that I'm hopeful will be of benefit to my clients and to my followers. I'm a leadership coach. I call myself a recovering corporate leader, and I'm in the business now of helping people become the best and most effective professionals and leaders that they can be. And today I actually wanted to talk about how you can make a good first impression when you're working with executives. And believe it or not, even though this may seem like old hat to many of you, I'm still somewhat astonished at senior level executives that I coach that haven't really mastered the art of making a great first impression. And this could be a great first impression with other executives, possibly in presenting to a board of directors. Maybe you're working with other donors or constituents if you're in nonprofits. But I came up with a couple of ideas that, again, might be somewhat basic to some of you, but I think bear reminding. So the first is to be on time. Now, I'm sharing this with you in full disclosure because I had a very, very significant meeting last week with the CEO of a very large system, and I got lost. My GPS sent me to the wrong location. Luckily, believe it or not, I had left almost an hour and a half early, thankfully, because I wasn't late to my meeting. But I have to tell you, I had to call the executive assistant 30 minutes before to say, I am turned around. Somehow my GPS is not getting me to where I need to go. Can you help me? And just the acknowledgement that, number one, I was lost. Number two, there was a possibility that I might be late. And then just moving myself as fast as I could to not be late, it certainly got the cortisol running through my veins. I was totally stressed out. So to think that it doesn't happen to people who are senior, seasoned leaders and executives would be folly, because it can happen to all of us. And, you know, my tip is obviously leave early, do your very best to not get lost. And if you do, have the courtesy to call and to hopefully make up for lost time, which thankfully happened to me. So that's the first thing, to be on time. The second thing is to be prepared. And when I say that, again, people kind of look at me and go, well, of course we're going to be prepared. But it's more than just knowing the person's name, knowing what the objective of the meeting is. It's about doing your homework, about the organization, about the business, about possibly the challenges that are facing that industry. You never really know what kind of conversation is going to happen in a meeting with an executive, and you want to be relevant and you want to have good information that you can share with them, irrespective of whether or not it's about your personal contribution to the company or what you do for a living. You want to be in the know. And just by showing that individual that you have taken the time and the effort to be prepared means so much. I know, because I was a recipient of that many times when people would call on me. And the ones that came in that were dressed immaculately, got there on time, were very prepared, not only with what they wanted to pitch me, but also just about my business and the challenges that I was facing. They absolutely distinguished themselves and set themselves apart. So that's number 2. Number 3, just be yourself. You know, I think oftentimes we have an image of what we think polished looks like, or what we think people are expecting from us. And I can tell you, nothing will turn people off more, including an executive, than trying to be someone that you're not. Just be real, be who you are. Certainly be cognizant of the rough edges that perhaps you're trying to shave and polish over the years, but just be yourself. You know, I know years and years ago, I remember someone in my past told me that I needed to lose my Southern accent, that I needed to lose the way in which I was communicating because it just wasn't professional, that I needed to really curb that Southern accent. And thankfully, I never listened to that person, because one of the most distinguishing facets of my personality is that I come from a small town in Arkansas, and my accent is my accent. My metaphors and my euphemisms are my metaphors and my euphemisms. And they became part of my personal brand, not because I was being deliberate about it, but just because it's who I was. So number 3 is just be yourself and tap into that authenticity and own it. You know, it's all about posture. Be confident in who you are and what it is you bring to the table. That quiet confidence, and I'm not speaking about false bravado or arrogance. I'm talking about just that quiet confidence that you have value to bring to whomever it is that you're meeting speaks volumes. And when it's done in an authentic tone and an authentic temper, then that just is really a powerful combination. Okay, the fourth, actively listen. I remember many times when people would call on me, they would have something in their mind that they just wanted to sell me, or they pitched me, or they wanted to present to me. And they didn't take the time, many that did not take the time to ask questions and to find out really what was on my mind. And before they began to just pitch and what I used to call throwing up on me. So actively listening, asking what I call and what I coach my clients around is asking the what questions. What is it that you'd like to accomplish today? What is your greatest challenge? What do you think is your competitive differentiator from your competition? What do you think what do you need from my organization that potentially could be of benefit to you? You'd be amazed at what you learn by simply asking the what questions from people, especially at the executive level. Because remember, they're flying at 50,000 feet. So they're looking down and they can see many things that perhaps you can't see from your purview. So asking them the questions and actively listening to their answers can inform how you want to show up and how you can make an impression on that executive in a first meeting. Okay, the next tip, meet them where they are. Many times when we are calling on an executive, and my parents used to tell me, we really never know what's happened to someone before we cross paths with them. So oftentimes you may have an appointment with an executive, or you might be meeting with a board of directors, or you might be presenting to a leadership committee your idea, your proposal, the results of some project that you've been working on, but they may have just come from another meeting that was a horrible meeting. And so they're coming in with maybe a sour attitude, or maybe they're late, maybe they're running behind. We have to meet them where they are. We have to be intuitive enough and compassionate enough to meet them where they are. And if they need time to get a cup of coffee or to go make a phone call, absolutely give them the courtesy that you would want to be given to you. And executives are no different. So meeting them where they are and trying to level set and align, to use my word, align with where they are. Again, it will distinguish you as someone who is compassionate, who is sensitive to the needs of a professional, regardless of their position. And it also tells them that you're intuitive enough to respond in a way that will be of mutual benefit. And then the last thing that I will say, and this is a whole nother conversation that I will talk about in another video, is to communicate on purpose. Executives are busy. They have huge responsibilities. They have a lot of demands on their time, on their intellect. They are making decisions, big judgment calls. And we have to communicate whatever it is that we're sharing with them with deliberate purpose, so that we're not wasting their time. We're not, as my dad and mom used to call it, lollygagging around. We go in, we understand what it is that we think they need, we listen actively, and then we respond very deliberately on what we can offer, what our deliverables can be, and we make the time that we spend with them worth their time. So those are my thoughts on how we can make a good first impression on senior level executives, whether they be in an individual setting, in a board of directors, or perhaps even on an executive leadership committee setting. These are just basic things. I work with people every day, helping them hone their ability to differentiate themselves as leaders, to become the most effective leaders they can be, whether it be in an entrepreneurial setting or in a publicly traded company setting, or even in a nonprofit organization. If any of this rings a bell with you, I'd love to hear from you. Simply comment below, reach out to me. I would love nothing more than to support you in your leadership journey and to perhaps shed light on how you can become even a better leader than you are today. Again, my name is Kristin Kaufman. I'm in the business of helping people build the most successful leadership positions they can and make the biggest contribution they can in whatever field they choose. My company, Alignment, is all about that, helping people align to their greatest self, and so that they can contribute at their highest and best self. Make it a great day. And again, comment below if I could be of assistance to you in any way.